It's good to be back, and that's a good way to come back. Avs win over the Utah Mammoth 4-2. Now, at 5-on-5, I think the Avs were certainly the better team for the vast majority of this game, and for a large portion of this season, that has been, in my opinion, because the Avs are simply better than their opponents. But this was a return to action after 3 weeks, and the guys who had been playing are exhausted getting back from the Olympics. In many cases, for the Avs guys, less than 48 hours before this game. So there was some understandable sloppiness and mistakes getting made, and I'm willing to throw those out given the obvious context here. But that did lead to a game where the Avs were better, maybe more so because of Utah's inability to execute and capitalize on opportunities than it was the Avs strictly dominating. With that being said, that happens all the time. The Avs have plenty of losses this season that come down to their own lack of execution, so taking advantage of a team that's struggling there is part of the game. The first period, despite the Avs being the better team at 5-on-5, showed them no reward, although maybe it should have, but is Avs hockey really back until they've had a goal taken off the board by the league? Brent Burns had seemingly scored on a backhand, but goalie interference was challenged and it was ultimately called back. It's goalie interference, you never know, but this one looked like it was very likely goalie interference from Brock Nelson. He gets part of the glove of Amelka with his stick as the puck is flying past him. I don't have an issue with this one getting called back. With that goal getting called back, there would be no actual scoring in the first period, which is an issue the Avs have had problems with over this season at times, but the version of the Avalanche you got in this one kept chugging in the second period and was able to get the job done instead of letting that frustration build and it becoming an issue. I don't want to give a guy too much credit, but I don't think there's a secret with the Avs being more stable in a situation like that and Gabe Landeskog being in the lineup. And look, the second period did start a little bit sketchy. The Avs gave up some high danger chances at the start of the second, but Wedgwood was able to stand tall and get the job done, or like I mentioned, Utah failed to execute. And the Avs, even without Nathan MacKinnon, who sat out, recover a little bit from that getting back from the Olympics. As we know, he was sick at that thing, so understandable. But even without that superstar player, the Avs are a bit inevitable on the offensive side. You give them long enough and they will score on you. This play actually starts with a near breakaway for Utah, but a diving play from Josh Manson is able to recover just enough to put the shot off the net, and then the Avs are quick to get back up the ice. Burns collects, gets it up, and the Avs are just off to the races here. Utah trying to sneak a bit of a change in on both sides of this play, so Parker Kelly takes the neutral zone space, gets the offensive zone, and then just keeps going. He chips it to the middle. Players kind of half take the body, don't play the puck. Not great defense, but Kelly just continues through, finds the puck, finds enough space to get a shot off, and rips one into the far side of the net. The Avs rested depth that ultimately breaks the game open. Look, that's Parker Kelly just walking through a team's defense and putting a snipe down. Certainly not the guy you would expect that from, but a guy who, when the moment is right, is capable. Now, do I think Utah's defense was particularly good? No. Do I think Karel Vejmelka was particularly good in this game? Also no. But again, taking advantage of your opponents when they're struggling is how you win hockey games. And Parker Kelly seems like the perfect fit for the Avs bottom six as a guy who can apparently flex around the lineup. Listed as the 3C tonight because of no Nathan MacKinnon, and he comes up with what ends up being a multi-point night and the first goal of the game. And the Avs would never even get back to tied from here. They would have the lead and they would keep it. And it wouldn't take too long to extend that lead either, coming once again from this third line. A failed Avs forecheck allows Utah to get this puck out of the zone. You give it maybe a bit of an awkward lead in the neutral zone, but nothing crazy. And just a clean misplay. Just whiffs the puck, forgets it, and Parker Kelly, working hard on the forecheck to get back, is able to get this puck and get the Avs in the offensive zone. Also, good job to get off the ice on the far side here by Bardakov. That could have been bad. We've experienced that before in Colorado. I'll leave it there. Kelly just gets it in deep, goes to work here, and continues to win puck battles. Utah just didn't feel engaged at times in that regard. Back to Sam Malinsky, and this is great vision here from Malinsky. Immediately recognizes that Utah has, frankly, lost the plot with this defense. Like, I really don't know what's going on here. That's not good by anyone, and the backside defender has also completely lost Victor Olofsson. Malinsky, it's not a perfect pass, but he hits the gap and gets it to Olofsson in a way that he can receive it. Olofsson does a great job to get this off the stick to the skate, and with Vejmelka a little bit slow to get over, he has room on the near side, and he puts it exactly where it needs to go. A clean error from Utah, and the Avs immediately jump on it and capitalize. Parker Kelly working hard again. Victor Olofsson with a very nice finish, but in the middle there is Sam Malinsky picking up a point and Brett Kulak being on the ice for a goal for. Having immediate impact from that pairing should hopefully have everyone settle in. Obviously, trading Sam Girard is a big deal. He'd been an Av for a very long time, and you make a move like that because you're relying on Sam Malinsky to be the guy that he's been so far this season, and to come back and immediately have impact there makes some of those fears assuaged, or at least relaxes you a little bit if you are missing Sam Girard. On the Brett Kulak side, he did exactly what he needed to do in this game. Immediately dropped into the Avs defense and looked super solid all night long. So the Avs are now set up for success, but their one big problem in this game was their discipline. The Avs gave Utah 5 power play opportunities in this game, and while some of the calls were cheap, some of them were just blatant, stupid penalties from Colorado, including Gabe Landeskog just tackling Lawson Krause for no reason in the middle of the second period. And while Utah has the second worst power play in the league, only ahead of the Avs, they do score on this one. Not a ton to break down here. Utah already had one decent opportunity on this power play and are moving it around well. They're on the perimeter. Ginther sets up in the spot where the shooters shoot. He shoots. Wedgwood, maybe not perfectly over. Maybe you'd like him to be a little bit further over to cover this near side and there not really be an option. But it's also a great shot from Dylan Ginther. Look, in a perfect world, I think Wedgie gets over a little bit better and makes that save, but Dylan Ginther is an extremely good shooter, and giving teams power plays, as I always say, sometimes they're gonna score. That's how it's supposed to work. The lack of discipline is, again, not something I'm really worried about. Definitely a sign of a rusty team that hasn't played in a while, so you expect that to fade away. And in a game that has felt like at times there weren't a ton of high danger opportunities, after that goal, all of a sudden swings wide open. Just a couple minutes later, the Avs re-get their 2-goal lead, and that 2-goal lead only lasts exactly 1 minute, so let me show you both of those goals. Would you believe me if Scott Wedgwood got an assist on this play? Well, he did. Nelson gets it in deep here, and him and Landy kind of just play pitch and catch along the wall here. It is even a little bit sloppy. Nelson nearly loses his puck, but is able to recover. And that give and go completely discombobulates Utah's defense again. You see 4 guys defending 3 here. Nothing worrying about on this back door. He needs to be the man stepping up to the middle for Brent Burns, and you need to be worried about Nelson coming back down in. And then the defense just continues to make switches that don't really work effectively. Positioning here just brutal. Nelson puts himself in a great spot. Landy recognizes it, gets it to him, and Nelson with the finish because he's the gold medal bubble guy. This is a lot of almost really good defense from the Avs. It's a clean one-on-one spring off of a play coming back the other way, but the Avs should be back decently. Taves gets stick on stick and creates the puck bouncing that stops any rush play from happening in the immediate. You have guys coming back. Makar is taking his side of the ice. Jack Drury is challenging, and then they make what should be a nice switch here. Taves is able to stay with his man. Drury does have his back to the puck carrier, and that does cause a little bit of issue, but he's still able to get a stick in there and defend and keep him from getting a shot off. Unfortunately, Makar's gap has just gotten a little bit lost here with this puck getting held up again, and he's not able to get in and have any impact on this play. He just leaves a little bit too much room for Ginther to get off another great shot. First of all, Brock Nelson is a monster, maybe the Avs' best player in this game after winning the gold medal match and still getting back in time to play in this game and not just be really good, but fill in for Nathan MacKinnon's shoes and play the 1C role and still find that super effective hockey. No one played more minutes for the Avs than Brock Nelson in this game. He played more minutes than Kale and Taves did on the defensive side. That guy's got stamina. The goal against comes against your top pairing, and if we're being honest about it, the Avs' top pairing was their worst defensive pairing in this game, which is bad, but also in some ways encouraging that their bottom 4 defensemen were able to pick up the slack, and the Avs never really got into danger despite those top guys not doing the great job. So at that point, it's 3-2 in the second period, and while you might not be comfortable there, you're content if the Avs get out of that period with a lead, but they're able to do more than that and it's thanks to special teams. A couple things to note on this power play for the Avs. The hard workers doing the hard work. This is not the first battle they win in this possession, but it's the important one. Winning those battles is a key portion of finding success on the power play. Yes, the Avs have problems with finishing and shooting it all too, but those battles have to be where it starts. That allows Necas and Makar to do a little bit of give and go work up high. This is nothing fancy, nothing special, nothing we haven't seen from the Avs before, but a willingness to shoot. A willingness to shoot from who is probably your best shooter on the ice. Maybe you'd give it to Makar. I don't know. But Necas unloads a bomb and it just goes in. The Avs power play doesn't have nearly enough of that this year. There's nothing special about that. And that's the point. It doesn't take a lot for the Avs power play to be better this year, and it needs to be better this year, and you immediately make it work with a Cale Makar who should be more confident up there after the Olympics in his performance on Canada's power play, and then Marty Necas in a different spot with MacKinnon out of the lineup. It just seems so simple, and you have to keep doing it, right? You don't have to take the crazy pills of putting Nathan MacKinnon back there and watching the insanity of a bad power play continue to go forward. You have physical proof that this can work better without doing a whole lot but having Marty Necas shoot the puck from the circle. Do that, please. Marty Necas also, by the way, a multi-point game in this one. Also looked great in the Olympics, and a guy that, to be honest, I think the power play should be on his shoulders going forward. We know it's been on MacKinnon's shoulders for a while now, and it hasn't been working. It should be up to Marty to start pushing that thing in the right direction, and the power play has to get better. And that was the final scoring of the game. Now, most of the third period felt pretty easy for Colorado. For the last 15 minutes of it, Utah pretty much went away, resigned to their fate. But those first 5 minutes were not great. The Avs give up a 5-on-3 for nearly a full minute. And credit to the Avs penalty kill. They killed 4 of the 5 opportunities they faced here, but especially the 5-on-3, and there were a couple of opportunities where Utah just missed open nets on the power play. The Avs got away with this one more because Utah was bad, not Avs good. But you get away with a tied special teams here by the skin of your teeth, and that is an area where you need to improve as a whole. Score more on the power play, give them less power plays on the other side, and have cleaner penalty kills. Yes, you had 1 goal against and you killed the rest, but when you look at it mechanically, those PKs, Utah had a lot of good chances. It ultimately didn't matter. Utah piled up a bunch of shots in the third period, but they were shots that were just not that dangerous, and the Avs are conserving their legs because they have a back-to-back to play. It's kind of an A1 result of a third period for Colorado that should have saved those legs a little bit and hopefully have a little bit extra against Minnesota in the next one. Were there plenty of mistakes and even ones I didn't really touch on in this video? Absolutely, but I'm just not too worried about deep diving the mistakes in this return to play game. You know it's going to be messy and sloppy at times, and you have to clean that up over the next handful of games and get back into the flow of things. You got the win. You did it without Nathan MacKinnon. The Avs are really, really good, and it's fun to have them back. That is the end of this game video review. Thank you for watching. I am Rudo, and hockey, NHL style, I like it.